Hey everyone, Mac is back, and today we're going to go over the commanders of Siege of Winterfell for the medium spenders. Today we're going to start with the infantry commanders, so let's get to it. So the first thing I want to go over is going to be these three groups right here. I've separated the commanders that you could possibly use in a infantry lineup into three separate groups, and the reason I did that is because this group over here on the far right are going to be your most expensive commanders, and I'll talk about them shortly. And in the middle here is more your free-to-play commanders and commanders that I don't believe are pretty obvious of why you're not going to use them, and I think we need to select from this left side over here, and I'll go into that as well. The first thing to note is that you only need 3 commanders in the Siege of Winterfell when it comes to each lineup. So I recommend going with, if you're infantry, spear, cav kind of person of all 3, then to go with them. If you have enough of one troop type of, say infantry, then enough infantry, then you could possibly go, with 2 infantry and then a third one into, a different lineup or something like that, because your lord will have a lot of bonuses on top of that. So you could possibly do that if you really want to, and then even set your talents that way. I think 3 types is probably the best if you're not a bow commander. So let's start with the right over here, and the first thing I want to mention is, you can see here this is Peter Baelish, so they're obviously very expensive, and most of us have him maybe gray quality. So if you have gray quality, you're talking 11,000 troops he brings to battle, and you're not talking these 200% bonuses here. These bonuses are very small, probably like 10%, something like that. I actually might have a couple of them up here somewhere. Let me just take a look. Yeah, there you go, 10%. I have Jon Snow, of that quality. So and the reason that I'm suggesting not to use these is because they don't give you the bonuses that you need, especially for a medium spender. If you're a free to play, obviously you want, it's important to have some of those bonuses, but at the same time, you may be going up against some really difficult, tough accounts. So it might be better off to get some more damage done using their skill when that gets off. So looking into this, seeing he reduces normal attack damage, counter attack damage, and skill damage dealt by the enemies in a circular area, 3 max, 70% for 5 seconds. So obviously very good skill, like really good. Cost of the rage is really high at 850. So but I just don't think there's enough there for him. And then Jon Snow is an obvious one as well. So if you do have him unlocked, you can upgrade him to 15,000 troops instead of the 11,000 which Baelish had. But his rage cost is 1,000, which is the highest. His skill is just really good, so that makes sense why you'd want him to have him in there. The only problem with that is, like I said, you're getting 10% bonuses across the board, which is almost, the Siege of Winterfell is absolutely nothing, so you're not going to want to do that. But if you do have one of these commanders available and you have upgraded them, like for instance, I have Daenerys gold quality, and that's all you really need is gold quality. And then you can try to, upgrade her troop type, the number of troops she has as well. As you can see, I have at 21,000. That's what you're going to really want. So she is obviously going to be in my main, one of my lineups, just because she'll give 200% across the board. Plus her attack, her skill does targets three different enemies formations. So that's very good. Cersei, kind of the same thing. You can see 800 rage cost here. I have her unlocked in gray quality, which it's just so tough to upgrade her, but does have 3 targets, so that's why that's really good. Sandor, a little different. I don't have him unlocked at all, but he deals skill damage 2,500 coefficient, and if you remember, and we'll show later here, that Arya is 1,800, so you can see that's how much more damage is going to be done by Sandor to the targeted troops, and it reduces the targeted rage by 300. So actually, that's pretty good as well for not having targeting three different troops. And then Dana, another one, 800. She recovers wounded, so she would be one that actually want to put in there for the healing aspect of it. But at the same time, it also removes control status, for 4 seconds to 3 different targets. So that's really good. And then her bonuses are ridiculous too, because of the 400% spear attack and the total defense of 200% as well. And now we're going to look at the other ones I'm going to eliminate, and for reasons I'll say here in a second. The Seg, looking at Seg, 600 rage, he does recover wounded troops, but for a coefficient of 80, which is absolutely atrocious 80. I mean, we're talking some of the other ones that are smaller that we're talking about, 800. So 10 times that amount. So not really that good for 5 seconds, and then increases the counterattack damage. So yeah, and his bonuses aren't that great either. So you're not going to want him. Arya, we talked about that earlier about how she has 1800 coefficient compared to Sandor, which was I believe 2500. So significant more for Sandor as well. The difference between the two is that she gets her rage cost off at 550 and 10 seconds compared to what Sandor does, which is a lot more. So I'm not saying Arya is bad by any means, but when we're talking about bonuses, she gets a little bit of attack and a little bit of defense, and her actual skill itself really isn't that great. Free to play Haley is not that great either. She's only giving 1 bonus there. Same thing for Loreo. Their skills might be decent, but they're just not giving enough bonuses, as you'll see with these other commanders we have over here, and the other commander's skills are much better. Feast, same type of thing. I do like Spieth, and I talked, if you go check out my free-to-play video, you'll see that Feast is very good because he increases your infantry attack by 1200% for 8 seconds. Those two numbers combined are really, really good. So, and his rage cost isn't too outrageous either. So very, very good for Feast. I highly recommend him for free-to-play. All right, so here are the commanders that I've narrowed it down to, and I want to just start off by saying that if you have these commanders at gold quality and at giving you 21,000 troops, or I should just say the same amount of troops that compared to your other commanders, that you can't go wrong picking any one of these. You could pick the worst 3 for your infantry formation of this group here, and I'm telling you, you'll do absolutely well no matter what. I've separated the top here from the bottom, the top being the healers and the bottom being more of the bonuses that you're going to want, or the skills that you're going to want. So separating those, there's different ways that you can kind of try to maximize the synergy of these different types, and I've always stressed that having a commander that has a really good skill first, because you want to get that really good skill off as many times as possible. You want to start off with that skill and do as much damage as you possibly can, and then from there you want to probably put a bonus commander in there if you don't have a really good skill after that, and then go from there with maybe a healer on the third one. So the third one heals, then once you heals, he gets back to that first commander that has that really good skill, so you have enough troops to be able to hopefully do a lot more damage. So let's get into this real quick. I don't want to take too much time. First, starting off with which commander do you want to go first? So if we're looking at Julian and we're looking at Sonara, those are my 2 commanders I'm going to consider. And the reason we're going to do that is because they affect 3 targets. So Julian can affect 3 max targets, and Sonara, same thing, 3 max targets. So I like both of them. As you can see with mine, I don't have Sonara to the to gold quality yet, and to she's awakened, so I don't have her to 21,000 troops yet. So that's a detriment to me. It's not to say that I won't use her, but as you can see here, her total attack would actually be 120%, and her infantry defense and health would be 240 compared to what you see there. However, I do like both of their skills. It takes 700 to get off for Sonar and 500 for Julian. So I'll probably put Julian in as my first one, just because he'll get this skill off a lot faster. It's probably not a better bonus than hers. I'm not saying it isn't, because if you look at deals damage coefficient of 1,000 to 3 different troops, and then also increases the defense. And plus he gives bonuses to all 3 troop types, as we know, so he gives it to infantry, which is very good. And then Sonara here, we're talking to 700 rage, so a lot more rage here increase. But then she reduces the skill damage taken by troops in a circular area for a max of 3 targets by 80% for 5 seconds. Also, the big one, at the same time, increases the infantry attack of the command troops by 900% for 5 seconds, plus gives her infantry bonuses. So if we're looking into those, I think those 2 are the very 2 that you're going to want to put in there. I'm going to start with Julian, and I think Sonara will go right over top of her, on top of him. And then the other ones here, like I said, they're not bad at all. Tyrion, basically, they're going to do no damage to you for 6 seconds. You basically make them stop doing any kind of damage. Normal attack, counter attack, skill, all that damage is going to go down the drain. So you get nothing whatsoever. So it's basically making them invulnerable. So like I said, that's a pretty good skill to have. The problem is he only brings these small bonuses in there, and it's 700 rage, so it's actually a lot to get off. I like Lats a lot because she has the 320% bonuses across the board, which is so good. Her rage cost isn't terrible, and then her increases infantry attack, defense, and health by another 900% for 5 seconds. So if you're just looking for straight up, you know, beefy bonus hits, like she's the one you're going to want to have in there as well. So if you really don't want to go with one of these healers and you want to choose between these three, I think that Lats might be the third one you want to put in there. This is totally going to depend on what you have in your lineup. As a medium spender, maybe you don't have you know, some of these gold quality or the amount of troops that you have. So you have to consider that. The amount of troops that you bring with, you know, these commanders bring with them are pretty important, because the more troops you have, the more, you know, punch you're going to have as well. So for my sake here, I think the Julian and Sonara, and then looking at the 4 healers up here, I'm going to eliminate Ray and Patella right off the bat. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if you look here, their recovers wounded is actually 660 coefficient for both of them. They're almost identical in a sense. The one thing I do like about them is the infantry attack at 320%, and they give you some health as well. So their bonuses are actually really good. I do really like that. Their second part of their skill here is at the same time increases the infantry defense for 300% for 5 seconds. Is not very good. I mean, defense, you're not really worried about that too much, as long as especially if this is one of your main lineups. So I'm going to eliminate those for sure. Then if we look at these two, Marjorie and Simon, they both have the healing coefficient of 1800, which is really good. The difference is that Simon affects 3 targets, so if you keep your troops clumped together, you'll get all 3 targets will actually heal at 1800 coefficient, and it removes all the buffs. The difference is that Marjorie will get at the same time increase your skill damage dealt to the command troops by 80% for 5 seconds, which is also good as well. And she'll give you a little more bonus here. If you have her at gold quality, you get 120% attack and health, where Simon only gives you 120% attack. So there's a little bit of difference there depending on where you have them. As you can see, I have both of them at purple quality, which isn't that great. So I am going to use Simon in that respect. So I would actually use Simon in this lineup. So these are going to be my 3: Julian, Sonar, and Simon. I think that's a very powerful lineup there. If I would go for a second lineup, I actually might go with, say, Lats in there, probably because of her massive amount of damage that she's going to do with this skill once she gets it off, 900% for 5 seconds. And then their second one is between Tyrion and Andrea. And if you have them both gold and they're both bringing the same amount of troops, then I'm probably gonna just stick with my bonuses, with my I like the aggression. I know he'll basically stop attacks, which is great for 6 seconds. He just doesn't bring enough bonuses in my opinion. They're the same amount of rage as well. And then at that point, you just throw Marjorie in for some healing, and then you have 2 lineups here that heal that are really good. So I hope this helped you with your infantry lineups, and we'll do the other ones another time. Till next time, Mac out.